What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Shotty at hitgenie Productions, and today I'm going to be showing you guys 3 different methods you can use to get that vinyl and grimy effect for your lo-fi hip-hop tracks. Now, 2 of these methods are free, however, only one of them is native to FL Studio. So, if you use a different DAW like Logic or Pro Tools, Machine, whatever, then I'm probably going to recommend that you guys stick with the first 2 methods. Remember, one of them is free. Stick with the first 2 methods of this video. If you guys are new to the channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification icon so you guys can stay up to date on all the new content I put out, whether it be new beats, showcases, tutorials, whatever. Always happy to receive new support. Thank you guys so much. I do this for the love of the craft. I do this for y'all. I appreciate y'all. That being said, let's go ahead and get into the video. One thing I forgot to mention to you guys is that I will be leaving links in the description so you don't have to spend hours trying to find this stuff online. Now, we can go ahead and get into the video. Alright guys, so real quick, I just drew up a really simple chord progression, really simple melody pattern for the sake of tutorial. Nothing too fancy or extravagant. I'll do a tutorial on how to get really nice lo-fi chord progressions, or really any kind of chord progression at a later time. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and hit play so you guys can hear how this sounds. Alright, so nothing too fancy, really simple, really simple. I'm using the Hawks Mellow Lo-Fi presets pack for Serum. Now this is a free preset pack, so I will leave a link in the description for this preset if you have Serum. If you don't have Serum, don't feel like you're lucked out, because you can get the same effect from what I'm about to show you today with pretty much any kind of piano or bell or pluck, and you have a lot to choose from if you select the Citrus plugin. You can see here they've got a bunch, a unnecessary amount of presets for Citrus. So like I said, if you don't have Serum, don't feel like you're lucked out, because what I'm about to show you guys will still work for pretty much any piano, pluck, or bell that you use. So that being said, let's go ahead and get into method number 1. Alright guys, so the first method I'm going to show you guys today is RC20 Retro Color. This is my absolute favorite plugin to use when I'm making lo-fi tracks. Now the downside to this is that this does cost money. It's about $100, but there is a good workaround for this. If you're like me and you use a lot of samples or one-shots for your beats, I mean, most producers do these days, then you've probably heard of the web service called Splice. Now, what's cool about Splice is that for $10 a month, you get access to unlimited amounts of loops, one-shots, drum kits, the works. And on top of that, they have a rent-to-own program with a lot of different companies, RC20, or the guys who made RC20 Retro Color being one of them. So for $5 a month, you can rent to own RC20. That's $15 a month to have access to an unlimited amount of loops, kits, one-shots, all that good stuff, and plugins like RC20. Now, the pricing on a lot of different plugins that are rent to own do vary. I've seen some that are as expensive as $20 a month, and then some that are as cheap as $4 a month, like RC20. Alright, so mainly what I work off of with RC20 is these 4 knobs here. I don't really mess with space or magnetic. I'm gonna actually turn that off. Mainly because space is all it is reverb. If I want reverb on my track, I'll just use FL Studio's stock reverb plugin, because you have a little bit more control as far as to how you want it to sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that off. Magnetic, I don't use it because frankly I just don't know what it does, so I don't really hear much of a difference. So I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that alone for now. So I'm just gonna be working with these 4 right here. So you got your noise right here, you can hear it. You get that nice vinyl noise, and you got a bunch of different presets to choose from as well. I'm gonna go and turn that down a bit. There we go. Now you got your wobble. Now this is the wobble is what's gonna give it its nice little you know, it's kind of pairs with the distort because it's gonna attribute to that distorted sound you get. Now it's always best for these kind of knobs that you just keep it very subtle. You know, you don't want to get crazy with it. Let me show you what happens. Yeah, you see this wave is going absolutely nuts right now, and this sounds absolutely disturbing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn that back down. That sounds good. Now with the distort, same with the noise, you have a different presets that you can choose from, like iron, crunch, heavy. Air, all that good stuff. I'm actually gonna go with heavy. Sounded pretty dope. Actually, you know what? No. Crunch does sound good though. Now for digital is my favorite one to use because this attributes to, like, if you want to do like a sample bit kind of lo-fi. So I'm just gonna go ahead and increase that. And you can select the rate, the bits, your flux, you know, your focus. I usually just leave those alone though. I don't really mess with those. Alright. So I mean, there you have it right there. That's a pretty tight lo-fi sound right there. You know, it's a really good plugin because it's very simple, easy to understand, you know, and it'll get the job done exactly how you need it to get it done. I mean, this is a really good plugin. And like I said, for $4 a month or $5 a month, you know, I'd be crazy not to get this. So definitely recommend RC20 as your first method for getting those nice lo-fi sounds. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to method number 2. Alright guys, so the next method I'm going to show you guys probably looks real familiar for you. Isotope vinyl is honestly the best option to go with if you're looking for something that's super easy to understand. It's free for both Mac and Windows users, so honestly, like I said, it's the best option to go with if you're looking for something. If you're on a budget, you're looking for something that's you know, easy to understand. So first thing you'll notice is you got a bunch of different sliders, you know, warp depth, scratch, dust, electrical noise, wear, mechanical noise. You got your warp model here. This uses 4 different types of waves. So you have your sine wave, inverted sine, peak, and inverted peak. Normally for my tracks, I usually stick with either peak or inverted peak. Most of the time it's going to be peak though. So I'm just going to go ahead and preset that for now. Really cool feature about this plugin is that you got the year and the RPM. Basically all the year does is apply some type of high pass EQ to cut out some of the low end to make it sound like it's coming from a different you know, point in time, a different year. So you got like 2000, you got 1980, 1970, 60, 50, 30, and you guys can kind of hear it. It's cutting out some of the low end as, you know, the lower you go. Normally I keep it up to about 1970 to 1960 just because I like to keep a bit of that low end for my tracks to make them sound a little more full. Now this little knob right here, the RPM, that's gonna attribute directly with or it's gonna correlate directly with these amount knobs you see underneath the dust and scratch. Now the dust and scratch will not work until you actually set the amount knobs to a certain value. Basically what the scratch does is it just applies some kind of like a skipping effect. So let me show you guys. I'm gonna set it to 4, turn it up so you guys can hear, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the RPM. And you see it's occurring a lot faster, right? Yeah, normally I only keep this to about 33, and I'll keep the scratch very minimum, and then to only about like 1 scratch. Just because I get annoyed if it's going on too much, you know what I mean? So the same for the dust, I usually keep it to about 30%. Keep it very subtle. Alright, now it's the same concept applies with RC20. With these sliders, you want to keep it very subtle, because you know, you get crazy with it, it's gonna give you a whole bunch of feedback, a whole bunch of noise that you probably don't want cutting through the whole mix. So the wear, just gonna go and increase that a bit. Now what the wear slider does is that it gives it that that wear and tear kind of feel to it, like it's been an old vinyl sitting on the shelf collecting dust for a couple of years. Same with the electrical noise and the mechanical noise. All right, now warp depth is going to be very similar to the what do you call it? The like the wobble effect in RC20. It's going to give you that nice distorted sound. You can kind of hear it. And then of course you got your mono to stereo bypass, your input output gain sliders, and then you've got this little button right here that says spin down. Honestly, between you and me, you're probably not gonna really use this. I've never used it. There's really no need for me to use it, but let me show you guys what it does. So you see, it gives you that really slow vinyl stop effect. Like I said, I've never really had a need for it. I'm not really sure how anybody would have a need for it, but it's a cool feature that's there if you know how to work it and know how to use it. So more power to you if you want to use it. That's pretty much it for isotope vinyl. It's very simple. You can see there's no presets, nothing to, you know, work off of. This is basically just how creative you can get with it and create your own, you know, lo-fi sound to it, which is what I really love about this plugin. Not only is it free, but it kind of gives you a little bit more creative challenge, you know, to get that nice lo-fi sound. Plus it's got this cool little let me show you. Take these screws out real quick. All right, boom, boom, boom. And these are all the people who've helped create this awesome plugin, and I believe this is the serial number. Not too sure, but don't worry, if you do that, all your settings will still be there when you click back on it. So that being said, let's move on to the third and final method of this video. Alright guys, so the last method I'm going to show you guys today is only native to FL Studio. So like I said, if you're using something like Logic, or Machine, or Ableton, Pro Tools, this method is not going to work for you unless you have similar plugins in your DAW, and you can use those. If that's not the case, then like I said, I probably recommend that you use the first two methods I showed you. Like I said, isotope vinyl is free, so I mean, for my FL Studio users, if you aren't really a fan of isotope vinyl, or if you don't feel like investing in RC20, there is a way that you can get a very similar effect with just stock plugins in FL Studio. So what you're going to need is you're going to need Fruity Parametric EQ2, Maximus, Fruity Limiter, and Patcher. Now the thing about Patcher is you want to make sure that you have from FL Studio leading into FL Studio. What happens if you don't is that you're going to play it, you're not going to get any sound. You know, you don't hear anything but my voice right now. So then I drag this over, and now you got your sound back. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up Fruity Parametric EQ, and we're going to change the preset to radio. All right, now what I like to do, I like to just adjust a little bit more, get some more of that low end in there. You can see here that with this particular sound is very subtle, but it's still there. So you don't really have to play around with this if you don't want to. If you want to just set it to radio, leave it at that, that's perfectly fine. But usually I like to add in some of that low end. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open up Maximus, go to presets, and select Lo-Fi. And you can see right here that it kind of boosted the pre-gain a little bit, so it's going to be a little louder. It gives it that real muffled sound. So we're getting closer. We're getting closer. We're not just there quite yet. All right. So next thing I'm going to do is open up Fruity Limiter. Now This is going to require some playing around with. You're going to want to make sure you have compression selected. This is going to take some playing around with. It usually just depends on the type of sound that you're working with. So you can see right here, this is a very low, very lush sound. So normally what I do is I'll take the threshold and I'll just put it right below the lowest peak of the wave, and then the ratio, the exact opposite. Just put it right above the highest peak. And you can take the knee and adjust that. All right. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to select patcher here, select presets, select humanizer. All right. And then watch what happens when you play it. It gives you a bit of that wobbly pitch variation, so I'm just going to go ahead and increase that slightly. Maybe increase the stereo spread. Volume variation very slightly. And then volume speed, I usually just leave alone. But you guys can hear it, you know, it's got that nice gritty vinyl effect to it. The only thing I recommend is when you've got it the way you want it to be with the stock plugins method, you export that MIDI data, or you know, consolidate that new track into a new audio file, because it can be very CPU heavy, especially when it comes time to do the final mix. It can be very CPU heavy, and you will get a lot of lagging, distortion, all that, you know, unnecessary shit that we don't want. So that being said, that's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, my favorite method is honestly RC20. Just for the price point, you know, $100 is not too bad. That's usually what a lot of, you know, high-end plugins run these days anyway. So all right, and remember, you got isotope vinyl. All right, and then you've got the stock plugins method. All right, well, that's pretty much it. I mean, those are the three methods right there. Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring it back up top. So there you guys have it. That was 3 different methods you can use to get that lo-fi grimy effect for your tracks. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification to stay up to date on all the new videos I put out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry, they're doing construction downstairs. Anyway, this is your boy Shy T at Hitgenie Productions. I'll catch y'all on the rip. Peace.